Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. It is my honor to introduce, for the first time here in public broadcasting, Dr. Yesenia Madas, who is Executive Director, the Center for Student Success, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Good to have you, Doctor.
Thank you. Likewise.
Let's talk about student preparedness, college readiness, if you will. Why are so many students not ready to go to college?
Well, they're coming out of high school and they're not prepared. And some students have come to us years out of high school. We serve a large population of students from high school age, returning adults, etc. So those students often come to us and they're not prepared.
Who's the us? Who's the we?
The community college. So we have 19 community colleges in the state of New Jersey, and I will add there are 19 phenomenal institutions with faculty that come from everywhere, quality faculty whose primary focus is teaching and passion for students, being there with them.
How do you actually get them ready? I mean, I'm thinking about this. We've had many of your colleagues on talking about, you know, the role community colleges play, but I'm curious as to what you do in your role. Is it beforehand that you acknowledge that they're not ready, or once they come there you realize they're not, or is it both?
Well, it's both depending on when they take a placement exam. We use the AccuPlacer to assess whether they're college ready, and some of our institutions are looking at multiple measures and looking at high school transcripts, etc. However, we have a program. We just are in our second year. We're going to be starting. It's called College Readiness Now.
College Readiness Now. Go ahead.
College Readiness Now was started last year in the summer, and it was through the College Access Grant, which came from the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education. And we were very grateful for those funds. And so all of our community colleges came together in a short period of time and offered programming in either the spring at the high school, during the high school day or after, or they offered it on our campuses. And it was summer programs, some were very intensive, 1 week boot camp, if you will, and some of them were more traditional summer bridge program, about 5 weeks. They tested over 4,000 students, 900 plus were enrolled. About 48% of those students through those programs were college ready. And the other half, you may ask, well, what happened to those students?
Yeah, what happened to those students?
Those students were then brought up so that they were only one course away from either math or English.
I can't let you get past that. Brought up, describe what actually happened with those students in terms of what was done to help them improve and in what areas.
So if they needed several semesters to get them through their coursework, to get them to be college ready, they were now much closer, meaning only one course away. So some of our students can be enrolled within the first academic year and be taking all of those courses, which are not credit-bearing courses. They're not actual college degree credits. And so what that did is save them and their families hundreds of dollars by allowing them to move up the sequence and the ladder, if you will.
But why is it that so many students are in fact not prepared for college?
Well, I think it's
because, sorry for interrupting, because it's not like they don't know, and it's not like high schools don't know that after 4 years of high school, if a young person wants to go to college, that there are certain requirements, or is that a shock to them?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. Some people will say that the high school should be offering some of the more rigorous courses toward the end, and they talk about students being better prepared in the senior year so that when they take these exams or when they're looked at, they place better. Some students will say to you, well, I didn't know I was going to be taking an exam, or I didn't study for the exam, or I just walked in that morning and I had been up all night studying for another test, or something like that.
Which is not the best approach.
No, it's not. And we have tried really hard throughout our 19 community colleges to build partnerships with the high schools, which is what this College Readiness Now program did. There were over 60 partnerships established throughout our county colleges with their high schools. Describe
what a partnership would look like between your council and a high school, for example. What would it look like?
Well, the colleges did an RFP, a memorandum of understanding with us and with their high schools. And so they said, we have this exciting program and we want to help students because it was Challenge Access grant money. The particulars of that grant required that we assisted students that were of high need, particularly low-income students or students in the low SES class. And so those funds were targeted to that population, and so the high schools had to sort of say, yes, we want to enter this partnership with you, the community college. And through that, that's how the programming evolved. And some of the programs, there were 3 that we're highlighting now as a best practice for next year.
Are they in certain communities?
They're throughout the the 19 community colleges.
Oh, throughout all of the 19
All
community
of them,
colleges.
correct. All of them participated with programming. They held either the 1-week intensive, like a math boot camp to get students up to speed. Some of them, if they weren't practicing math in that last year, they knew the math, it just wasn't there. They needed to practice.
Is math one of the most common areas that students struggle in?
Yes, math and English.
Math and English are two of the most common.
Yes.
Interesting. How did you get into this? And why?
Oh, you know, I'm a first-generation college student myself, and so for me, education really transformed my life.
And you wound up getting a doctorate.
I did. I went all the way. I wanted to prove to students, particularly students who look like me or come from the same background that I do, to say...
You're from the Bronx originally?
I am from the Bronx, yes.
And you decided, when did you know that you wanted to make academia your professional life?
I had, right out of high school, gotten a job as a secretary, and I was working there for several years, and I realized that the only reason I couldn't climb up and do the other jobs was because I didn't have a degree. And so that launched me into a degree. I studied psychology, and I fell in love with it. I went on to work with foster care children, and from there, I went to receive an award at my institution, and one of the deans, who was just a phenomenal mentor to me, said, "There's a position open, I think you should apply." And I did, and I never looked back. I fell in love with higher education. I fell in love with helping students.
What did you fall in love with?
I fell in love with the students. I wanted to help them actualize their dreams. I spent 10 years working as a counselor at Brookdale Community College and working particularly with students in the Educational Opportunity Fund program. And it was just, for me, I would go to work, but it wasn't work. It was just a passion. It was fun. It was exciting.
And you've learned a lot about students, but also a lot about leadership.
Yes.
I'm curious about this. What would you say the most significant leadership lesson you have learned in all of your work has been so far?
Well, I'll tell you, I just recently read something that resonated with me, and it was that leaders ignite something in people. You know, they help people find their passion. They help people, they motivate them, they lift them up. And so different than managers who light a fire under people, and I don't know if that's someone else's quote, but it's about lighting that passion and that fire within someone and helping them actualize their dreams as well, even if that means losing a good person in the process, if you will.
Well, I have a feeling that you've been lighting a fire for people and motivating people for a long time, young people in the county and community colleges. And I want to thank you, Doctor, for joining us. Dr. Yesenia Madas, all the way from the Bronx.
Thank you.
You've come a long way and keep doing what you're doing. Executive Director, Center for Student Success at New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Thank you for joining us. Stay right there.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this.